Hi, I'm Tracy, and today I want to show you how easy it is to make your own delicious and healthy sourdough from home. You're going to love it. It's all you need is your sourdough starter, filtered water, flour, and salt. Okay, you'll want to start with 113 grams of sourdough starter, and you can get your sourdough starter on tracysourdough.com. And I got a little bit too much, but that's no problem. You just adjust. Okay, and then to that you'll add 12 fluid ounces of water, and you'll want to use water that is filtered. You don't want chlorine in your water because that will ruin your starter, and so you'll want to get 12 ounces of water. And then I whisk those together so they get nice and incorporated together. The starter kind of dissolves into the water. The next thing I add is 567 grams of flour, and you'll want organic, unbleached flour. The process that they use when they bleach the flour has chemicals in it that will also ruin the starter. So you don't want bleached flour. You'll want to use organic unbleached flour. And then I use 15 grams of salt. You really do want a scale for this. And so I use 15 grams of salt. If you need more flexibility after it doubles in size, then you can add up to 20 grams of salt. And the extra salt will slow down the yeast activity and let you have longer time after it doubles in size before you need to shape it. So that's an option if you need more flexibility in your schedule. So after that, I stir it together, and you want to just incorporate all of the ingredients together. So I didn't love the idea of needing to feed the sourdough starter every day and then find creative ways to use the discard or to just throw it away. And I learned that you don't need to feed it every day, that you can leave it in your fridge and just pull it out when you're ready to use it. When my starter gets down to about 200 grams, then I just feed it equal amounts of water and flour and let it sit on the counter until it doubles in size, and then I put it back in the fridge, and it's always ready. And actually, when you use the Sleepy starter, it takes longer to do the first rise, which gives you a more flavorful bread. So it's great. I love making bread this way. And so after it comes together, then you spray your bowl and cover it with saran wrap, and then in an hour, I'll come and do a stretch and fold. So I'll show you that in about an hour. So after an hour, you'll want to do a stretch and fold. This step is not mandatory, but I like to do it because it adds structure to the bread and gives it a better texture, and it also helps with the rise. So you'll want to use wet hands so your hands do not stick to the dough, and you just pull up on the side and fold it over. Turn the bowl a quarter of the way, and you'll do this on all four sides. So you just pull it up and fold it over on itself, and you'll do this on all four sides. After you do it on all four sides, then you'll cover the dough and you'll let it do its bulk rise. So for me, it usually takes between 10 to 12 hours. And so I like to do this step at night. So then while I'm sleeping, it will rise. And then in the morning, I just need to shape it and then go ahead and bake it. Okay, so it's bright and early, and my dough has been rising for a little more than 12 hours, and it's doubled in size. So it's time to shape it for the second rise. So I get a little bit of flour and put just a little bit on the counter. You don't want a whole lot of dough on the counter. You mainly want it for your hands, so your hands don't stick to the dough. And I use this scraper. You can get this on tracysourdough.com. And it just helps the dough to gently slide out of the bowl. You don't want to punch the dough down. In some bread recipes, you punch the dough down at this stage, and for sourdough, you want to keep the air in the dough. So you just want to gently scrape it out of the bowl. And then you'll shape the dough. So this part is super fun. Okay, so you can either shape it for like a cast iron Dutch oven, and I have a lid for this, or you can shape it for a loaf pan. And if I use the loaf pan, I use the second loaf pan for the lid. Today I'm going to shape it for the cast iron Dutch oven. So I fold one side over and then the opposite side over. And then I take one of the corners and fold it over and take the opposite corner. And then I just kind of roll it over on itself. So the seam side is down now against the counter. There's not a whole lot of flour under it because you want to get surface tension on the dough. So at this point, I just pull the dough under, and at this point, I'm just forming a ball and forming surface tension. And when it all comes together in a tight little ball, then you will put it in your grease. I sprayed my Dutch oven this morning, so I'll put it in my Dutch oven and then cover it, and then I'll let this rise for an hour and a half. And it's just about ready. Okay, so it looks like this, and I'll just put it in my Dutch oven and let it rise for an hour and a half. All right, I'll show you the next step then. Okay, so my dough has been rising for an hour and a half, and I often just put it in the oven with the light on just for a little heat, but do not turn the oven on during that part. And so now's the time when you'll slash the top of the sourdough, and you can either use like a bread lom or a blade, a sharp blade, or very sharp scissors. For a long time, I just used scissors and snipped the top. I recently switched to just a sharp blade. You'll want to slash it, and this allows you to control where the bread divides as it expands in the oven. So you'll do a slash across the top and then two along the sides. Okay, so then you'll put the lid on, and you're going to put it in a cold oven. So you'll put it in the oven, and then you'll set the temperature to 425 degrees, and you'll cook it for about 45 minutes with the lid on. And then after 45 minutes, you'll take the lid off and you'll cook it an additional 15 to 17 minutes, depending on how crunchy you like the crust. So the bread baked for 45 minutes, and then I took the lid off, and it's been baking about 15 more minutes, and it's nice and crispy on the top. It smells amazing, and it looks beautiful. And so when you take it out of the oven, you'll want to put it on a cooling rack. And so I just tip it out of the Dutch oven and then put it on the cooling rack. The bread is hot. You will want to let it cool down before you slice it. We're not always great about that, but you really do want to let it cool down before you slice it. And then I just leave it out this first day so my family can snack on it as they're around. I have 5 kiddos and our schedules are crazy. So as people come in and out, they can grab some. And then when we slice it, we put it on a cutting board, just cut side down. And then after the first day, then I wrap it, and just to like prolong the freshness of it. So it smells amazing, and it's going to taste delicious.